Hola. This lesson is going to be on el verbo tener, how to conjugate it and use it in different circumstances. Entonces, vamos a empezar. El verbo tener is a little bit of a different verb, but before we get into what makes this verb unique, let's just discuss its uses and its meaning. The verb tener is used to show a relationship or a possession of something, and it means to have. Some examples of how it's used would be tengo dos gatos, I have two cats, or él tiene una hermana menor, he has a younger sister. Having two cats shows a possession of something, and having a younger sister shows a relationship. So a lot of times tener is going to be used just like the to have verb in English. Other times it's going to be a little bit unique. One thing that makes tener unique is it is an irregular verb in the yo form. This is called a go verb. You might remember jugar, which is also a go verb. Instead of jugo, when you conjugate it, it stem changes its u to ue for yo juego. Tener is just like that. Instead of just adding an o onto the end, when you conjugate the yo form, you're going to add go or go for yo tengo. You are not simply going to say yo tieno or yo teno. That is incorrecto. But you are going to always remember that it is a go verb and you need to say yo tengo. Also, similar to jugar, tener is a stem-changing verb. It's a little different from jugar because jugar stem change from u to ue. Tener is going to stem change from e to ie. There are lots of different kinds of stem-changing verbs that you will learn as you continue to learn Spanish. So this one is an e to ie stem-changing verb. So if we would like to conjugate tener for the subject pronoun tú, we're going to take tener, and what we're not going to do is simply add es. Tú tienes doesn't mean anything. So we're going to, instead, when we conjugate the stem, we're going to change the e to an ie. And then add es onto the end, and we have tú tienes, which is correcto. Now let's look at the conjugation chart. First, let's just go over the different individual conjugations and its meanings. First, tener, like I said, means to have. So when you conjugate it, it would be yo tengo, I have, tú tienes, you have, él, ella, and usted tiene, he has, she has, or you formerly have. Tenemos, we have. Tenéis, you all have, from Spain. And ellos, ellas, tienen, they have. Ustedes tienen, you all have. In the yo form, like I said, it is irregular. It's an irregular yo form because instead of just adding an o, you add a go. So it's called a go verb. Also, it is a stem-changing verb. Stem changes from e to ie in all these three forms: the tú form, el, ella, usted form, and ellos, ellas, ustedes form. When you draw a box around the conjugation forms that change, it looks like a shoe. So you can think of these verbs as shoe verbs. In comparison to jugar, jugar was a fully stem-changing verb, and that meant that the yo form also stem-changed from u to ue. This is not that case. So because the shoe does not go up as high, I call it a shoe verb. I don't know that you'll see that in any textbooks, but it might help you to remember that, oh, tener is a shoe verb, not a boot verb, therefore the yo form doesn't stem change. Also, the nosotros and vosotros forms never stem change as well, so do not stem change those two forms when you conjugate the verb. Now, there are some circumstances that tener is going to be used in different ways than the English verb to have. Tener sometimes is used very similar to the verb to be in English. So it's used frequently in idioms to refer to a wide range of emotions or other states of being. For example, if you wanted to say I'm 14 years old, what you're literally going to end up saying is I have 14 years. Tengo 14 años. Another example of this would be to express how you are feeling. To say you are cold, you would think that you would use the estar to be verb. However, in Spanish, you're going to use the to have tener verb to say tienes frío, but you're literally going to say you have coldness. Another example would be we are hungry and thirsty. These are not things that you are in Spanish. These are emotions and feelings that you have. So we're literally going to say we have hunger and thirst. Tenemos hambre y sed. In other circumstances, tener is going to be used just like the English to have verb and will not change at all. For example, saying Twix has a cold, you're literally going to say that exact thing. Twix tiene un resfriado. Did you know cats could have colds? They can. Twix had one, a pretty bad one, and he was the saddest kitty you ever could see. Here are some other tener phrases that you have learned. Tener sed, tener hambre, tener frío, tener calor, tener sueño, and then stating how old someone is, which is having so over many years. Tener blank años. Here are some other common tener phrases that you haven't learned, but you will hear commonly used in Spanish. Here are some other common tener phrases that you haven't learned, but you will hear commonly used in Spanish. Tener prisa, tener miedo, tener cuidado, tener suerte, tener razón, tener ganas de. Que ahora vamos a practicar. What I would like you to do is, in all of these blanks here, you're going to conjugate tener correctly. So now, take some time to pause the video y practica. Alright, now let's see how well you are able to conjugate tener in all of the blanks. Número 1 should be Elena tiene. 2, tú tienes mucha hambre. Alejandra y yo tenemos 15 años. Make sure you did not stem change there. 4, yo no tengo una hermana mayor. That is a go verb, so make sure you put the go on there. 5, Tito y tú. 2 options, tienen and tenéis un perrito simpático. Ustedes tienen una familia grande. Y 7, Rodrigo y Anita tienen frío. Y ya es todo. Gracias, bring your questions to class y hasta la próxima.